Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Baka podcast.
Baka. It's amazing how every time you open your mouth, you prove you're an idiot.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to an episode of Baka. We are an anime podcast. Every 2 weeks, we watch a new anime. We come together and talk about it like we're some kind of book club. We turn it over to our audience to finish the discussion, to carry it to new heights, to educate us why we are truly idiots who just watch anime. And to do that, I need the help of my co-host. Tonight, we have the paprika to my deviled eggs, Jeremy. How are you, man?
Every time I hear paprika, I always hear paprika. There's no way to get away from that now. Yes. Doing pretty good. Actually have had an opportunity to play a little bit more Morrowind and a little bit of Skyrim, The Journey as well, which has been a lot of fun. Just kind of get out of the school mindset.
Nice. Very, very good.
Shoot some Draugr.
And of course, you're watching this anime. That's
Hey.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We also have the cinnamon to my challenge, Jason.
Excellent. I make you hurl.
How are you?
And speaking of hurl, I've been family's been a little sick, but it's given, and with the snow, it's given me a chance to dive into The Witcher 3 for the first time. I know I'm way behind on that train, but wow, has it been a ride so far. I'm only like level 8.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about it, but I was waiting for this. So how do you like it?
It's funny because since I'm so used to Skyrim, the combat is so wonky, and I'm used to Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of Wars type, like Arkham Asylum,
right, yeah, Arkham.
Like, blocking and countering, and Witcher has some of that, but it's not nearly as fleshed out, right? It is not as integral to the combat as those other games. So it's been a really tough handle, but the storytelling, oh man, CD Projekt Red knows how to deliver their voice actors are so good at delivering dialogue. Just about every story I've run across is believable. And it's funny too, because a lot of times someone will go like, "Oh, this ghost is doing this thing to me," and just the expression on Gerald's face would just be like, "Sure, it was a ghost. Okay," and then they'll say something. He's like, "Oh yeah, that's a ghost."
My favorite factoid from the Witcher universe is that Gerald always quotes to people the Witcher code. I can't do this because of the Witcher code. There is no code. He just doesn't like explaining to people why he does stuff. He follows his own moral compass, and whenever anyone calls him on it, it's the Witcher code.
Actually,
what do this way?
In that line, he does. In that vein, he does do a really good quote. I just read into today. Someone goes, "I thought the mutation took your humanity." He's like, "You don't have to have a mutation to lose your humanity." Yeah.
And my name is Troy, and I beat Kingdom Hearts 3. And here's my review. Objectively, it's not a perfect game, but no Kingdom Hearts is. It is everything Kingdom Hearts is supposed to be, and I feel very happy with it overall.
Does anyone else play Kingdom Hearts?
It outsold Resident Evil 2 in Japan.
Are you kidding me?
Whoa.
Resident Evil 2 looks so good.
I watched a whole playthrough of it. It's very good. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts sells well, man. It needed some Final Fantasy characters. It needed some higher difficulty. I don't know. I was pretty happy. Wonky story makes no sense. Would drive Jeremy insane. We have an anime. We have an anime we have to talk about. We're not super excited to talk about it, but we do need to talk about it. It is called Release The Spyce. And if you Google that, you need to use a Y in the word spice, because these are about spies. And did you know the word spy came from the word spice, according to one character who just makes that up on the spot?
Even calls themselves out on it and is like, yeah, not everybody agrees on this.
So that was the anime we watched these past 2 weeks. And let's do our non-spoiler review. This was Jeremy's choice because he loves cute anime girls. Jeremy, what do you think?
I was genuinely hoping that this would either be a really silly anime. I watched the trailer and I saw the characters and the way that they were presented looked like it was going to be pretty comedic. Alternatively, I thought just maybe they would go towards a little bit more of the Madoka Magica route, lend it some gravity, but yeah, didn't really do either. And so it's not as bad as Flip Flappers, but it's not great.
I believe most people like Flip Flappers.
I was about to ask,
you're right.
What about this? What about this anime reminds you of Flip Flappers?
Just the moe nature of it, which I actually had to look up when Troy told me you picked moe
again,
stuff, Jeremy.
Again. You do this all the time.
I don't intend to. It just happens, guys.
I think deep down you love cute anime girls.
Well,
there's nothing wrong with that.
I think I love to hate when it's like lacks the substance too. Like I love the potential of, okay, give me the cute anime girls, but give me something crazy and weird that makes it seem out of the ordinary. And then when they don't, I'm like, oh, I hate this. It's trash.
All right. Jason, how about you?
It was fun. I think you had to force your suspension of disbelief.
Yes.
And not look for plot holes in order to it was like watching old MacGyver. Like, I remember how great MacGyver was when I was a kid. Yeah. So when I watch it now, I have to go, okay, I need to just forget about real reality and just enjoy what's being presented. And if you do that, actually, like, the animation's really well done. The dialogue, I watched it in sub, so it was good. The voice actresses did well. And I love the idea behind this huge facility beneath this ramen shop. Yeah, so it was fun.
Now, there was another anime that you mentioned, you showed a trailer of, and it actually looked a little bit similar because it was like Magical Girls.
Yeah, you said it was Magical Girl Mission Impossible, and I actually, when I was watching this, I was like, is this the one Jason mentioned? Do you remember sending us that? It was right before Jeremy picked this, too, so I don't think they were the same.
No, they weren't the same. But I'm trying to remember which one that was. I'll have to go back and see which one it was.
Okay. I did get some Mission Impossible vibes from this. There's elements of it that I did enjoy. I don't think the MacGyver analogy is apt. I think 90s cartoon is apt, like Teenage Mutant, High School Ninja Girls, Teenage Mutant. But for the most part, it was pretty lackluster. I felt like I've already seen it in Princess Principal, which did it a little bit better. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing specifically wrong with this anime. I just was kind of bored through it. Mm-hmm. Is kind of where I fell. Let's talk about opening and closing music.
I liked both of them. I thought both of them were great. They weren't like the top tier, but I think they were better than average.
Yeah.
And
I love the opening.
Really?
Yeah. Spy and the Spice. Heck yeah, let's go. And ending was skippable for me.
They just repeat the same word over and over again for the whole intro.
Eventually,
Spice.
Eventually, I started paying attention to the words that were like being subtitled on the bottom with the song. And I actually was like, oh, that's pretty cool what they're talking about. And I like the intro. It was good.
Yeah, I played it, and Tanya's like, "Shut that off! But it wasn't that bad to me. I didn't mind it that much. The outro was fine.
My favorite song in this was when they were singing "Happy Birthday" because they were all singing it in English.
Also, let's not forget there's a musical episode where a character literally sings a whole song. And someone, I think Jason pointed out in our messages this week, I actually really like the battle music and stuff they played, the danger music that went on with their missions. I was kind of into the internal soundtrack of the episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed that the guitar riff was the same as the lobby shootout from the first Matrix.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah. Right?
That's awesome.
All right, so we're going to go on to our spoiler section from here. So we're going to tell you what happens in this anime, and there are plot twists that will probably divulge very early, so don't tempt fate if you haven't seen this and you somehow become convinced you need to take part in this. It could happen. People could have heard, cute anime girls and been like, okay, that's for me.
I'm in.
There's nothing wrong with that. Jason already said that. So spoiler warning, though. Okay, so this takes place in Japan, and like I said, it's about a team of high school ninja girls who protect the city from crime and the super evil crime organization that they fight.
Well, when you put it that way.
I mean, you could literally call them the Ninja Turtles and the Foot Clan and have the same plot.
So my biggest question was, because we find out later on that they were defeated once before in this city. Why did they come back? Like, there are other cities in Japan.
Yep. Because this one is so important to Japan. I mean, isn't there in one episode they're talking about how look at how it affects the industry, and they don't show us anything. They're just it just does, guys. It's really important.
There is so much hand waving in this anime. It's amazing.
Yep. That's why I love this city for this off-screen thing.
Right.
Yeah, I think my favorite off-air comment that was made was Jeremy pointed out something about who cleans their facility, and I was like, Jeremy, they get powered up by cinnamon. What are you thinking is that hard?
It's so big and everything's so shiny, and
also,
there's gonna be dust.
These spices only work on high school girls, by the way.
Oh god,
yeah, only work on high school girls, and when you get too old, they stop working on you.
And old. Go ahead.
But let's not forget, there are chemicals you can inject into yourself and also become superpowered if you're an adult.
That's exactly right. And too old happens to be 2 years? A year? 2 years? How long was Momo? Yeah, Momo's apprenticeship.
We'll get to that. Let's get to that at the end. Because we need to talk about how. Okay, it's an ending conversation.
Okay. We'll hang on.
Okay. We have a lot of characters to talk about because we are introduced to what's already the team, and then our main character is going to join us. So we see a mission of these ninja girls breaking into the facility. So we're going to go through them in the order they're introduced in the episode. We have the character Mai, whose codename is her Mei, and her codename is Chiome. This is the singing girl, funky, yeah. Thoughts on her?
Average, forgettable.
I didn't mind her. I thought she was okay as the tough, brainless character is kind of what she reminded me of.
I love the way she was drawn.
Yes. Yes. She was one of the most well endowed.
Everyone looks like a 12-year-old to me in this anime. So even
when
really? They're endowed, I'm like, no.
Oh, she's 16.
I know these are high school girls. I'm and even okay. We're 30-year-old men, guys.
30-year-old men that watch anime. I mean, we have a category already.
But in the scope of they're supposed to be beautiful-looking women, when you draw them as cutesy anime girls, you turn them into children even more so. To me,
see, the problem is that you're the only one of us that has daughters.
Right.
That probably doesn't help me. Yeah.
Right.
No, she was all right.
I actually liked her. I think she was one of my higher tiered of the ones I liked. I liked that she sang in public because both she liked it and then used that to snoop on the crowds and gather intel. I thought she was good, and her character role I thought worked well, but we'll discuss that later. There's things to discuss. The next one we
did like the arguments that she had with her protege. That was cool. Yeah. I like that. I liked seeing that not all of them get along well. That's nice.
But they do all love each other. If you get a mentor, you must love her.
No,
you have to love the mentor.
I hated that so much.
Spend time with me, Sean.
I didn't know.
Japan, man. They just It's just the way it is.
Oh my god.
The next character is Fu, whose codename is Fuma. This is the youngest and rookiest of the group at this point, and also kind of the snottiest, and the master of disguise. What do we think of her?
I thought she was our traitor at first, or at least that's who I picked for when I was like, I'm going to pick someone for a traitor.
Yeah, I actually really liked Fu as a character. She was entertaining. The fact that she had disguise and nobody else really used it made it her gimmick, which was really interesting, gave her flavor. Plus, in the beginning, she was cracking me up because like she wanted to shoot Momoko. She was always being such a jerk, and it was really entertaining. Plus, actually seeing the interaction where she's not like all the rest of them. You know, she's got this attitude. She's a brat. She's mean. I would enjoy those characters.
She clearly feels threatened by a newcomer. She's, you know, she talks about how great she is, but then it's threatened by a newcomer. So, you know, like, oh, this character has low self-esteem and doesn't believe in herself.
And yet she's insightful enough. Like there's one moment fairly early on where she walks up to Momo up on the top of the building and she points over and is like, did you know that building turns into a robot? and Momo's like, what, really? She says, why are you even doing this? You are so naive and you're so gullible. Why are you even... That was really good. I like that moment. And she has a few moments like that where she has to, you know, either show insight or get over something that
she had the most memorable weapon.
Yeah. Yeah. The shuriken. Explosive shuriken.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like that, Jason?
I don't know how much I want to get into it, but it's like this is part of the suspension of disbelief thing I was talking about. It's just I have this expensive device that can flourish blades, but then if I throw it just right, it'll explode. But when I don't throw it just right, it's just a shuriken.
Batman?
Maybe she pushes buttons on it.
And also, it's just a hand. It's like it's just the way she flicks her wrist and makes the blades come out. So that's.
Well, I think the worst part is when she goes into melee combat holding it in her hand as if she can stop another weapon with it without getting cut herself. Like, oh, that's just painful to watch.
Our next character is Go, whose codename is Gomon. This is both the sniper and the best close quarter combat fighter in the team.
Which obviously go hand in hand. And I like how she uses her sniper rifle for like 3 episodes and then just never again.
Never again.
And then you see her from then on. She's got gauntlets on. I'm like, why did they make you the sniper?
And she has the gauntlet thing in the first episode too, because she like holds a door open with it in the beginning.
My biggest question is why is it whenever we get these animes with a bunch of different girls that have combat ability, inevitably one of them has to be a punchy fighter?
I think that's just anime. I don't even think it has to be the girls. You gotta have a punchy fighter.
Well, no. Because if it's a bunch of guys, like all of them are punchy, kicky fighters. But like, if it's like all different girls that have all different battle abilities, it's like there's going to be one of them that's a punchy one when all of them might have like swords or all of them might have guns.
Maybe it's like the unarmed weapon in Skyrim where they're like, somebody has to do it. You just have to have some. So give her like this giant gauntlet that just kind of coats her hand.
You got to have a monk class.
Possible.
Gotta have the monk.
Well, and I think one of the funniest things to me was that like her left arm, she actually had not just a gauntlet, but her gauntlet is a shield.
I like
it's a round shield.
I liked it. I liked that idea. Yeah.
I thought it was kind of weird, but I could see like if you're doing a tabletop role-playing session, you're trying to come up with some kind of interesting weapon, I could see coming up with something like that. So yeah.
But I thought she was okay. Again, she was another one of those non-memorable characters that had a decent idea for an arc, and then it just kind of vanished.
I hated her until it got to the point where she lost control for a little bit, and then I was like, oh, you're interesting. You can actually kick some serious butt.
Yeah, and then they even act like they're going to do something about that later, like it's going to affect her, and then they don't.
And I liked that it did at first, but then, like you say, it just completely goes away. But that's indicative of this entire series.
I actually thought she was one of the most bland characters, other than the one moment when she goes berserk, and then I was like, oh, you're cool. And then, she doesn't really have much of a personality of herself, other than she is the best fighter on the team. And her action scenes were cool.
Yeah,
but her whole personality is, I'm not like my mentor, but I want to be.
And she needs to spend more time with me and pay more attention to me
because I love her. Because she's my mentor.
She's my mentor.
So shallow. It's so shallow.
But they're cute. Next character is Yuki, codename Hanzo, who is currently the leader of the team. She has one eye.
No, she doesn't.
Shut up. She's got a sword. What do we think of her?
She was almost my favorite character for a while, but then she became so one-sided that I don't know. She had decent potential for a decent arc when it came to, because they did all this conflict with her training Momo and like being overprotective, and like even when Momo did great, like she would like chastise her, and then it just kind of goes just like every other storyline in this anime.
It's almost like they were going somewhere and they had something in mind, and then they realized, oh, we've only got 2 episodes left. Crap.
Or like, I'm too afraid to hurt anybody.
Yeah. Can't hurt the Moe girls.
I'm not buying we didn't have time, because they like had time to reverse stuff that they did well.
True.
Oh, that's interesting. They were.
But Jeremy, this is your favorite character, so why don't you tell us why?
I actually really enjoyed how she had enough depth that was gradually exposed that it kind of made sense why she was making the decision she was making, even though she was kind of being a jerk. And I mean, I get it. The position that she was in as, master, sensei. I get it. She's got to worry about the life of her student, and who knows at that point. I was thinking maybe she had a second student, and that second student died, and that's why she was overprotective. But it was interesting. I liked her behavior. I liked how serious she was. Everybody else was playful and everything, but she also was kind of the almost seemed like a de facto leader at times when it came to a decision to make a move. She would often be the ones doing the briefings and getting things ready. So she seemed like she had more in control. Like she was more in control in the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I liked her. I liked that she had a big flaw, and that at first it just seems like she's a strict teacher, but then they actually have her call out like, oh yeah, by the way, I was kind of being an a-hole this whole time, and I was messing up. It wasn't just you, which kind of plays into Momo's character. We'll talk about in a second, but I mean, one eye, two eye, come on. But she wasn't like a super interesting. She wasn't super flawed. Her biggest thing was she was strict, a little overly so, and that was her whole character.
But you see, that's the thing that was character.
That was her character.
Way I could pick something.
And then the last member of the team, Hatsume, also known as Tsukage. In this opening mission, she's behind the computer. She is their inventor, their scientist, their friend maker who makes friends with all the friends.
I really like that term you wrote there on the outline. Her special power, making friends.
I mean, at the end. Well, I still haven't made friends with everybody there. Oh, never change you. No, change a little bit. Those are psychopaths trying to mind control the world. You should calm down, lady.
But she was the gadget maker, right?
She is the gadget and the hacker.
So does the spice help her make gadgets?
No, but it helps her swing that cool pole arm she's got.
Oh God! Which turns into one of the chain staffs, which is very cool. But
you see that a lot in anime, though. That's pretty standard.
Yeah, no, it really bugged me though, where it's like, okay, you're a teenage girl. There's no indication that you have some kind of crazy. I just want to sneeze. There's no indication.
Do it.
No. I got it. There we go. There's no indication that you have some kind of like talent with mechanical things other than there's a bunch of mechanical things here and you explain them. Like, we never see you tinkering. Plus, you're a doctor that can identify poisons you've never seen before and create an antidote for them. Like,
create a gel that makes you go invisible for only 10 seconds.
Yes.
And a selfie stick.
Well, and even later, she's like, "Oh, and I made some that actually will make you go invisible for longer because we need that for this mission."
And I did like how it played into the final battle.
Yeah, that was cool. That was an ingenious use of it. I was impressed with that. I was actually really glad that they didn't do that with every battle too. Like, I could see that becoming Momo's signature move. Like, I'm going to make my sword invisible, but they didn't do that. That was nice.
Arthur Pendragon inspired. All right, so this mission, while they are getting away after having succeeded, is they're spotted by a young high school girl who's our main character, and this is Momo, which is the name of one of my dogs. So that was odd.
Awesome.
I can't stand this character for just a myriad of reasons, but the fact that her senses are on overload all the time, so she can see this distance in the dark and see the girls jumping on top. Okay, fine.
She's cop trained. Her father's a cop, so clearly her tongue is capable of being a lie detector.
That's obviously her genetic inheritance from her dad because he was a cop. That's just insane. This character was very frustrating for me in many ways because it was just so obvious that her interactions, especially the taste sense, are just like fan service, in your face, Moe moments, and I didn't know what those were. Had to look them up. Moe. Mm-hmm. She
was Deus Ex Machina and a main character. It's like, come on. But her confidence level, like, I understand, like, being shy and wanting the people around you to like you. Like, that's a common thing for some protagonists. But the constant self-deprecation was just nauseating.
Yes, that's exactly it. It felt very shallow. I did like how she was willing to keep trying and work really hard, but I don't understand, based on the time frame I was given, how she managed to become as capable as she did.
Oh, it's like 4 weeks.
Right. I mean, I know that there's a number of months involved in the total span of time. I think it's like 2 months of her training, even with Hanzo, before she gets to join them. But, like,
I want to move like a ninja in 2 months.
Right? I mean, Hanzo grew up as the daughter of a school of martial arts, training from presumably the youngest moment she could carry one of the weapons, or before. And she could pick it up in a year. Like, I had so much trouble with that. And,
I mean, this character's whole thing is that she doesn't have confidence, right? That is her thing. But
careful, Troy. Your eyes almost rolled out of your head.
What I found interesting was that he said, like, at the end, she's confident. I'm like, what made you think she's confident? Like, I never saw anything that we get a montage with her that we'll talk about where she messes up a lot, right? Missions where she keeps messing up. And then we never see equivalents of those missions where she makes better choices. We just see her win a fight with a character. And we're supposed to be like, oh, now she knows not to hide a body in a locker. That will be checked soon.
Oh, I'm talking about her martial skill.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about her spy sense. And then they're like, yeah, you're totally ready. I'm like, I haven't seen her make good spy decisions yet. Are you sure she's ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. But as far as the martial decisions, like the ability that she had at the very end demonstrates that, I mean, she can go toe to toe with somebody that putting a hurting on everybody else in the team. For, like, why? Just a lucky, I'm really feeling it moment.
Story needed her too. So.
Yeah, exactly. And
I might have something to defend that. Can you bring that back up at that fight in the story?
Sure. Yeah.
I want to think about it though.
Okay.
I don't know if I care enough.
We'll see what the time is.
So we now, the story follows Momo, who, like we said, is a very unconfident high school girl. Her father was a police officer who died, who might be related to the story. Her one of her closest friends is a cop. Her father's old partner, who isn't related to the story. Like, I kept waiting for them to say, like, she was a Spice Girl, and she wasn't. No, the old lady standing over there was.
Right. Which I thought for a long time the old lady was just a mask that the bad lady was wearing, because in the very first or second episode, you see like an old person's face taken off and thrown on the chair of a couch or of a car seat. And I thought that was the old lady, but apparently it was someone else.
The reason the cop friend is important is because she overhears the cop say she's going to do something in a certain area of town that night. And Momo gets a intuition that something bad's going down. So she rides her bike to go help and sees this cop friend being abducted by a gang, takes pictures to...
It's a gang of women, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Also, we forgot to mention she made friends with some of the Spice Girls early that day who already have an eye on recruiting her.
She doesn't Spice Girls.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's this whole thing of like, I'm going to make friends today. I'm like, oh, it's her first day of school. No, she's been going there for a while. That was weird.
She has a stupid crush on Hanzo as well.
She has, Hanzo has a crush on, she has a crush on Yuki. The Spice Girls show up and save the day, and they take her with her at gunpoint, and they're like, look, you can join us or have your memory erased of this night. And she basically gets to see them have an action scene. There's mechs in this that they fight so they can kill things without actually killing people. Yes. And Yuki like takes out a mech riding on the back of a truck and shows off her skills, and then is like, I need a new apprentice. You can be my apprentice, or we can erase your memory. And Mom was like, I don't feel confident. And she's like, you'll get confident. And she's like, all right, I believe that. And she joins. And then the episode ends with a meeting between the bad guys who are called Morio. And
more Oreo.
Morio, yeah, more. Anyway, and they basically this leader of this area is like, hey, one of these Spice Girls is betraying the others and giving us intel. The Spice Girls do have a name. They are called the Tsukagi, but I'm calling them the Spice Girls, and that's just something we're all going to agree is okay.
Yeah, it is totally fine. These are the real Spice Girls.
Because I wasn't writing that, and two, it's kind of hard to say. So
yeah, it is.
Spice.
I was trying to pronounce it earlier today.
Not worth it.
Yeah. So the next day, she's taking back to the restaurant where she meets the waitress of the restaurant that is the front for this secret group, and that's Katrina, who I had pegged for the traitor.
That was my second choice.
And I was so close. Even though I was way off on reasons. I thought they were going to do this thing of like, when you're not a Spice Girl anymore, you want to be a Spice Girl. And
the other organization has drugs.
That can make you powerful again. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. But in my defense, Katrina she mentions the traitor once, and she does like some other stuff that I was like, I'm suspicious of you. Mm-hmm. And I was right to be suspicious, but she is not the traitor. God dang it.
Yep.
Anyway. So what did we think of Katrina, who's not the traitor, the waitress, she's a former member of the Spice Girls whose the powers have worn off. So she stayed in the group so she didn't have to have her memories erased, because that's terrifying.
It is horrible.
Like the consequences, if you think about it, for most of the situations you find yourself in this anime are pretty terrible, but none of them ever get followed through on.
But it's the same as Men in Black.
Yeah. So no, she if you have a main protagonist and like you have their sidekick, and then like you have a secondary character, she's the thirdary character. She's so background, except for when they need a couple lines from her. So I don't really have an opinion on her. She was okay, I guess.
Yeah, she was just background.
I loved her. She took care of the animals. She seemed like the only person with her head on straight. And I thought she was a traitor, so she was interesting to me.
Who funds it?
Yeah, who funds it?
magic money.
No, they have a conversation about it. How the original members sold spices in the trade routes and made a ton of money, and ever since then, we've been rich. Cause. And
jobs.
The organization hands down the money to the next group of girls. You know, you pass on your skills, your knowledge, and your funds. That's what they said. Look, it doesn't make any sense. It's literally just we're rich because we're rich. Deal with it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Also, they have a huge underground facility underneath this restaurant with a shrine in it. It's not just underground facility. It's like a big open area so they can have a whole shrine in it.
Yeah, it's gaudy. It's so huge. Like, I mean, at one point they even erect a little swimming pool in it for one of the little captives they have. It's like, what is this? This is ridiculous. And I was trying to figure out, okay, if there's 6 girls that are actually warriors in here, 6 spies, and I don't see anybody else that's overhead or caretaking or anything like that except Katrina up in the top, and then 4 animal mascots, right? So this place is so huge. That would take Katrina like weeks just to keep up with it. Just like every day cycling to a different location, keeping this thing clean because it's like sparkling. It makes no sense to me. Where's the rest of the staff?
See what I'm talking about? Like of everything in this anime, there's so much that doesn't make sense. To worry about the cleaning schedule just boggles my mind. Also, they get a character in there to start cleaning it for them. And I thought that was pretty funny because you had mentioned this.
Right.
Yep. But still, I mean, that little kid was like, what, 6?
So Momo finds out she has to train and pass a test to officially join the group. They do also tell her about... Do they show her the base here? Or is it later? Yeah, they show her the computer, the spy gear, the invisible potion, the groping alarm. She learns they eat spice, and that young girls, when they eat spice directly, become superpowered, which you would think every other human being on the planet would know. Because, like, no other girl on the planet has just taken a bite of cinnamon and been like, oh my god, I can jump across a building.
That's the thing that was getting me, is like this stuff looks like it's just regular spice, but they keep talking about it as if it's had something done to it, like it's some kind of special version of spice.
They do say it with a Y, at least in the subtitle. It had the Y written in it.
It's anti-spice. That's what it is.
But yeah, so we basically get a really cool training montage, and really cool is subjective.
I was really hoping that like they would bite into the spice and they would like become superheroes, like only in their minds, but that everyone else are just like it's like as if they're on drugs, dripping down the street.
I love that idea.
I have a complaint about this training montage because there was something that happened in it that I thought was really cool at the time, and that's on the first night she goes to eat and she's poisoned and knocked out, and they drag her out. And I thought this would come back again, especially with a traitor in the group.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
And never does it happen again. And Momo eats ferociously so many times in this anime. So many times people hand her food and she eats it. And I was like, oh.
Yep. You're talking about that. Have you had your meat today?
Yeah. The street vendor gives her food, but she also goes, again, remember, I thought Katrina was the trader who serves her food all the time. And literally, we see this girl eat all the time. She eats in like 6 different episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Never does poison come up. And I was like, why have it in the training montage?
Half of these times where she's given food by people, it's framed in the exact same way and paced the exact same way as other animes when they are poisoning someone.
Mm-hmm.
And then just nothing happens. Like when one of the last times when Katrina gives her the ramen, that was like so suspicious. I was like, oh, I guess I'm right. And then, no, there's no poison.
Yep.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
She finds out the test is going to be to catch May. And May, when she's still in training, is like, hey, you want to just practice? You want to try to catch me? And she's like, yeah, I'll get you. And May like jumps across 5 buildings.
I love that. I actually love that because it was great. It's like she's taunting her and then just like, okay, catch me. And then just the first time when she jumps off, it looks like she's just jumping straight down. Like go ahead, jump 10 stories off this building and catch me. Yeah, that actually entertained me a lot.
I did love that Hanzo was like, I have this stamp, and at any moment I'm going to stamp you, and you have to try and block me. And then, like, 3 scenes later, her face is just covered in stamp. That was pretty fun.
That was good.
See? Wasn't a bad training montage.
No, it had a moment or two.
And there's a part of me that almost always enjoys a training montage. And it's probably because of South Park and the montage song, but I just see montage. I'm like, yeah, let's montage. Let's do it. It's such a trope.
One thing that
Hero Quest is a good training montage.
One thing that bugged me about May jumping around was she didn't look like she had taken any spice at that moment. So she can jump.
She's a gymnast,
a natural gymnast.
I don't know any gymnast that can do that one she just did.
So, anime. That's the only thing I can say. Yeah.
Due to getting served one of these meat fritters, she comes up with the idea of preparing for her test early. So on the day of the test, she gets asked to break out of class and try to catch May. She catches the wrong one. It's actually Fu in disguise who's trying to mess with her test.
But she licks her.
She licks her and finds out it's false.
You don't taste like May.
Which I found odd.
Okay, we're moving past this. We're going on. She does catch her because she had pre-built a border and kind of ran her into it, and so she managed to catch her.
Oh, why? Why did she know that she would be able?
No. You didn't hear what Hanzo said. Hanzo said that she corralled her there.
She like baited her into it, and like
how?
How?
Troy, move past this point.
There's actually a bigger issue I had here, which I thought for sure in the final battle we were going to find out I prep because that is what I'm good at. And I've set this up in an early episode. And again, I was like, oh, this is going to show up later. And it does not.
No.
There's a lot of that, by the way.
Yeah.
Almost every episode ends with a scene of the evil group, right? So yeah, again, the gang's like, hey, we have a new hot tip from the traitor. Just to remind you, there's a traitor.
There's a reason to keep watching this.
What they don't do is have people act suspicious in the anime. Like almost no one's acting suspicious. Because I was watching like, okay, she is super pure and good, and she's super pure and good, and she just wants to do well. Who's a traitor here? Yep. Take it or leave it, I guess.
Yeah.
She does pass the test. She graduates. She gets her gear. She gets a sword, and then she gets her first mission.
Actually, this is where you texted us. You were like, "Okay, if your outfit's bulletproof, why is there a midriff?
Why is there a midriff?"
Yep. It's the age-old problem, but like they go into such a detailed technical description of what all of their tools can do. And if this is like a Bond, secret agent movie or anything like that, you kind of are establishing by going that route that things operate by rules. They operate on rules that everybody understands. Otherwise, this technology is useless. It's just Deus Ex Machina. And so to say this, and it is Deus Ex Machina. But to say these outfits are bulletproof and everything. And what really got me was they can conceal you from video recordings, and like they're just schoolgirl uniforms with like midriffs and shoulders and thighs and legs and everything are like nothing is protected. What's protecting you from the bullet that gets your belly, or what is stopping that from being recorded by the camera? And I mean, granted, maybe they've got some kind of super jamming technology in there, but I don't know. This was so.
Come back.
Did you ever ask how the Ninja Turtles van worked?
The Ninja Turtles didn't have like.
Yes, they did. Donatello invented stuff just like this, and it's a '90s cartoon and it's dumb, and so you're like, whatever.
But it was also silly from the beginning. They didn't start from like the premise of we are James Bond, basically. Like we are the local secret agents that have all this crazy tech. They were like, oh, he's smart. Let's have him make stuff.
See, but I honestly felt like this anime was a 90s cartoon. Like it has more in common with that than actual Mission Impossible. Even like the fighting, here's evil facility we're jumping through and robots for us to kill. There's so many parallels.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going. Oh, speaking of outfits though, their actual school outfits with the open shoulders, I was super liking. I'm not a fashionista or anything, but usually almost all school uniforms look the same. These ones with the open shoulders are like that's kind of cool. I get it's summer and okay.
It's different.
Not what we're here to talk about, I know.
Silver lining.
We got an anime to discuss.
Okay. Her first mission is being hung from a pot over boiling ramen and almost cooked alive to get a evil chef who works with everyone they go after is affiliated with this evil group some way. And to get him to confess. She does get him to confess, and then the other girls rush in and save her. But Yuki's like, you could have got more if you hadn't been afraid. So you need to do better. And we see this on multiple missions. She's supposed to watch a certain entrance, and then she goes to help on the other entrance, and a guy almost gets by her entrance. They go to save drug sex slaves, and she takes the place of one of the brothel ladies and puts her in a locker, and then someone finds her in that locker, and so the alarm goes off and she has to leave. And so she keeps messing up, and so she's like, oh, I can do this. Now she's like, okay, maybe I can't do this. And my mentor, who I clearly love, in a non-romantic, maybe romantic Moe way, is apologizing for me, and so I am the worst.
This is when I was getting frustrated that it wasn't going silly and it wasn't going serious. Mm-hmm. Because even though she was screwing up, none of these missions failed. Like, there was at no point where she was in danger of ruining the mission at all. And I thought the brothel one would be a perfect example of where they were just like, we couldn't get the data, we had to get out, kind of thing.
There's a point in I think it's episode 12, where Fu says something. I think it's Fu. It could have been Momo. One of them says, so we were safe the whole time. Yay. And that's talking about the most difficult, dangerous mission where they thought several team members had died.
No, it's Momo, and she's like, we all are okay. And then I was like, oh, so you're a coward.
Well, she actually, if I remember correctly, she actually was referring to the past tense, which means the whole time we've been on this mission, we were all safe because this moment isn't what we thought it was.
That wouldn't be true, though, because they thought one character they actually all thought had actually died.
It was after they found out she didn't.
Right. Okay. Anyways, let's keep going. On then their last mission, after meeting with the other apprentice girls and them kind of prepping for the mission, and her being like, I'm going to stick to my mission. I'm going to watch the back entrance, which is I'm supposed to do. The mentor girls of the Spice Girls get attacked by a robot squad while a assassin from the evil group shows up, and it's a little girl named Biyako, who is from a village of mercenaries, and they always complete their mission, and she's working for the evil ones, and so we get this big fight between her and the other apprentices.
Can we take just a moment to realize that she could have been the one to drink that fluid and become the monster that we see later? Like, that possibility was like, this show is almost silly as it is. That's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
Because so there's two people they have. There's this little girl, and then there's a big, muscular, beautiful woman.
She's so beautiful.
Yeah, just imagine the Big Show, but in a dress.
Right. And they're like, one of us is going on the mission, and whoever doesn't is going to let themselves be experimented on with crazy drugs. And this little girl wins the fight, and so she goes on this mission. And the other lady, who I don't have as a character to talk about, but she basically gets turned into a zombie or
like
a
literal Frankenstein
golem. Yeah. So but it worked out. Anyway,
that would have been great actually if they'd done that with the little girl. It would have made it an interesting show.
I thought this was a good fight. This was fun.
Yeah,
this is all right. Yeah.
The little girl loses, and they take her to interrogate her and torture her.
This reminded me so much of RimWorld and how you get new colonists, because basically you have to a raid will come in, you'll down them, you'll wound them enough to then imprison them, and then you have to Stockholm syndrome them.
Yes,
into joining your colony. And I was just like, holy crap, this is RimWorld the anime.
Quit talking about RimWorld.
No, my point is, this was really messed up. They were like, we want you as a friend so bad, we're going to imprison you.
Just say that. More people don't play RimWorld.
There's plenty of people that play RimWorld.
Not a popular reference.
It's awesome.
You'd be
That's
surprised.
Fine, but, okay. Comment in the comment sections if you love RimWorld.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works out.
Let's fill up the comment section, Jason.
With just RimWorld's the best.
How dare you?
Okay. Yeah, but when she gets scared by the lava they're going to drop her into, her memory erases. And we find out that she had drank a sweet gelatin, because the bad guys have these sweet drugs, and they had forced her to drink it before she left, and it erased her memory. So she doesn't know who she is. So they're like, okay, you can stay here and be our cleaner.
I thought it was
weird.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting how at the Morio they actually justified why they didn't send the explosive gelatin with her. It's like, oh, that might cause problems if we need to hire them again.
Because of the village. Yeah, the village would take offense to that.
Yeah.
My question is that, she lost her memory from this stuff. But then, in later episodes, not only does she recognize she's from this village and that she's a mercenary, but that she's a bad guy.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, okay, wait. Did she lose her memory or did she not?
You're not a bad guy if you're a mercenary. You're just doing your job.
Mech Warrior 5 mercenaries.
No one plays that, Jeremy. Why you bring it up?
Look, let's just
It's not out yet. They will.
just do obscure game references all night long.
It's on its way.
The group learns about a tie to a pharmaceutical company in their investigation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really going to go into too much of the clues they find and stuff in the actual mystery. I did like that there was a conspiracy to solve. This actually felt the most Mission Impossible thing, is that okay, there's a pharmaceutical front and it has ties to this, and we need to get into that pharmaceutical company and see what's going on and figure out if they have ties. And I liked that framework they had created of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then they go in and they find that, we can't find any evidence that they are tied, because they went into a dummy computer server room.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That is true. Yep. But in the next episode, we get the song episode, which is basically about Fu and Mai
and friendship,
and how they became partners. And Fu feels like, I'm good enough to do this, and Mai's like, no, you need to be backup. You're just a young one. Blah blah blah, and they fight about money. They get real. Oh no, Fu messes up a mission and gets my shot.
That's right.
and I thought they were like, oh, they're gonna. She's in front of 12 people with guns. She's dead.
Bulletproof.
She's like, oh, I barely escaped there. I'm in the hospital.
And also, she got shot in the shoulder, right?
Yeah, it looked like it. She had bandage.
Isn't that? Well, I guess there's an exposed part, but
Yeah.
So they break up, and then Mai sings us a song about being sad, and then they get back together because Fu buys her a new guitar pick.
Yeah, because the old guitar pick that Fu bought her before was damaged, and yet she kept it anyway because she loves Fu.
And then they find a masochist.
Okay, I love this part. This part redeemed the whole episode for me. I was like, this is awesome. This guy is awesome.
I was like, if
It's so bad.
if Jeremy was going to be a bad guy in a silly
Yes!
anime,
Yes!
this is Jeremy.
That's totally true. 100 points. That was all. I love his death, or not death, but like his knockout mode where they hit him hard enough. He's like,
I like that. He's like, oh, I can't wait for you to hit me, but I'm not gonna. I don't want to cheapen it though. So I'm gonna try.
yeah.
But yeah, you guys do your best. Take me down.
I love how he takes off his shirt and he's just got those straps everywhere. It's like, okay. Like, I understand this is weird already. But...
Yeah.
So
this redeemed the episode.
Oh my god, Troy, you shaved again? Literally just noticed that.
I also am wearing new glasses and I have a crack in my lip. So that's what's going on with me, everybody. Thank you.
Everybody knows, Troy.
If you're watching the video.
So in the next episode, this is when they actually go into the pharmaceutical company with the invisible cream. Very funny scene of like, we have to get naked and rub this all over our bodies, and you missed a spot. Slap. They hack the mainframe. They find nothing, and they're not sure what to do. And then that big monster woman is sent out to beat them. So they leave, and they're like, okay, we're going to follow this drug lord. Mm-hmm. And the bad guys tell this behemoth woman, go follow the drug lord when those Spice Girls show up, kill them. And this ends up, they follow him, they track him. Momo and Yuki are on a train with him. They go to capture him. Momo gets it.
Just bug him. They were going to put a tracker.
They did put him to sleep, though, didn't they?
They did put him to sleep, but they weren't going to capture him. They were just bugging him because they wanted to track him.
Yeah, I wasn't really watching.
But then here comes Huge Woman to eat her.
Yes.
Like, she didn't want to just kill her. She just wants to eat her.
Yes.
And her thing now is that I have your scent, so I'm never going to stop until I eat you.
So she has Momo's power.
Yuki is able to knock her off a train into the river, and she takes care of Momo. Momo's attacked again in the restaurant, and then they beat her for good.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of was like, I don't understand how this is important.
Now, did she shoot her in the head?
They don't have real bullets.
Yeah.
No, What's-Her-Face does have real guns, because later on when she does put on the suit, she's wielding like 2 revolvers.
That's true, and that actually was a real gun that she wielded. I think she did shoot her in the head.
Like, she flipped her, and like she's laying away from her. And
they killed her?
Obviously not, because she shows up later.
Does she?
But
what?
Oh yeah, the last episode, she's like they're cleaning dishes in the thing.
Oh my god, you're right. I forgot.
They make this woman.
Yes,
how did I not see that?
Hatsume somehow cured her and turned her back human.
Yes,
that makes sense. Okay, Hatsumi could do it. That
no,
actually.
Of course, she could.
Of course. Sense. Well, friendship cures any disease.
That's right. Until she turns back to a human.
This was a low point for me. Just so you know.
I was just really wondering how she survived from bullets to the face, but whatever.
It's whatever drugs they gave her.
Hatsume can fix anything with friendship.
This episode actually confused me because when Momo shoots her point blank range in the face, she catches all 5 bullets in her teeth and they look like real bullets and she crushes them. But then Momo keeps shooting her and it's just the little needle sleep dart. And I'm like, what are you actually shooting?
Can we just logistically for a minute talk about not really. I just want to point out it was 5 individual shots, but then somehow she catches them all in a row in her teeth. So that means she had to catch 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4. Come on.
Yes. Yes.
Come on.
Baki has the best bullets in the mouth scene I've ever seen in my entire life. So I'm gonna say.
I gotta say, good. Plus had a great knife in the mouth scene. Favorite character too.
She gets a knife in the mouth as well, and then shatters the blade.
All right, we have a new character to talk about in the next episode.
Sweet. Who is it?
Teresia. This is the third person being sent by the evil group, and she
The
actually
third friend.
Yeah.
she knows Hatsumi from her past, and so the evil group is like, we think this girl might be one of the Spice Girls, so we're going to send you to investigate. This is,
they say like the traitor says this is one of. Oh no,
yes.
they didn't even tell her that the traitor. That's right, because that's a big important part later. Is that Teresa doesn't know there's a traitor.
Right. But this information did come from the traitor. We can find out later. So thoughts on Teresa?
Possibly the most interesting out of all the girls, but her backstory is so contrived it just blows up any credibility that she's able to build for herself.
It was very much like the Prince and the Pauper. Was kind of taken as a little bit of inspiration of a way to like get them together, just in the sense of, I mean, they didn't really trade positions, but at least like that first meeting.
I just love how there's two little girls that make friends, unwilling friendship, by the way.
Another one.
They not only both get captured, but then like they both get bought off. Like one gets the ransom paid, but the other one is just literally sold. And then they both end up in secret spy organizations.
Yes.
Come on.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, how's that not working for you?
That's anime plot, right?
Oh, that happens all the time. My bad. It's like going to the same school.
Yeah. Oh. I actually didn't mind the character for a long time, but it's for the same reasons as you, Troy. So I don't want to steal your thunder on that one.
Oh, I don't care. Steal my thunder. Go for it. You're better at it.
Oh no. But okay. So I liked her. I thought she was interesting because she actually had to deal with the fact that she didn't necessarily agree with her moral decisions. She'd been forced into this, but can you undo it? You know, it's been so long. What if Vader isn't redeemable? And so that kind of made her an interesting character. But it screwed up in the end.
I think the story ruined her. It wasn't the character herself.
Yes, it was the story. 100% agree.
Well, Jeremy stole all my stuff. God dang it. No. She was actually, I thought, the most interesting character in this arc that she starts with. Hatsumi was one of the more interesting ones. Even though I get in this type of anime, like there's this half romantic, half best friends relationship things going on. But having this love triangle between friends that are only friends but maybe not, it's like,
it's so weird.
Is there even a reason to be jealous here or not? Because Go is like, oh, she's spending time with another girl, but she's just your mentor. Why would that be a problem at all? Anyway,
well, how far does mentorship go? What is she mentoring her on?
Which is fine. Look, I don't have a problem with that. If you want to go Yuri on Ice or The Last Witch, that's fine. But this half and half thing of we're best friends who love each other so much, but then also let's add romantic drama where there is no romance officially is
confusing.
Right. It just doesn't work for me. But Teresa's plotline of, I don't want to be bad. And even the realization, like, man, the bad guys even hate me. Like, they don't even want me here. Mm-hmm. What am I doing? Can I leave? Do I have the option to leave? If I did leave, how would I do that? And how complicated her situation was and how that kind of held her in place and imprisoned her. I liked that story beat. But at the end, it's ruined because it works out just fine when it's a perfect situation for tragedy. And they even go through all the steps and made her a perfectly tragic character. And then, whoop, everything's fine.
I don't know if this is probably not worth exploring, but so they sent Teresa because of the information they got from the traitor, which was information from the traitor on purpose for particularly Hatsume. How did they know that Morio had Teresa?
Oh, they didn't. I don't think it was.
Is this just coincidence?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Anyway, so Teresa goes to their high school. She connects with Hatsume, who does recognize her, even though she was hoping she wouldn't. The Spice Girls
changed your hairstyle the whole time. So.
Yeah, I hope this girl who, when we went through a traumatic thing together, a very memorable moment. Anyway, the Spice Girls decide, okay, Hatsume, we think she's probably a bad guy. And Hatsume's like, yeah, me too, but I'm going to save her. I'm going to convert her, guys. I'm good at this. And they're like, yeah, you are good at making friends. You should totally hang out with this bad guy. But you can't go on missions for a while. You need to, like, back out of the Spice Girls as much as possible. And we'll take care of stuff while you deal with that. So
so there's this huge like push for secrecy with Hatsume. Like, okay, we're gonna make sure that like there's no connection. And she's like, oh, by the way, Teresa, I'm in the Spice Girls.
That's not fair because there's a plot element that pushes that, and I actually like that moment, which we'll get to in a minute.
Okay.
So at the same time, quick note: Byakugo, kind of the same attitude though, right?
Yeah.
She finds out she's been exiled from her village for failing her mission. Apparently, 5-year-old girls are not allowed to fail killing people.
Yeah, she was at least 9.
Okay, fair enough. She's drawn like 5. Hatsume and Teresia hang out. Momo and Go join them to keep an eye and keep them safe because Teresa's like, oh, she's like, they're spying on me. They kind of are sniffing me out. I'm just going to grab her and take her out and interrogate her. So Momo and Go show up and kind of ruin that. And they all go to Teresia's super penthouse in the sky. And
Hanzo's.
Which even Go looked like she didn't, like she was in shock at how awesome it was and amazing. And I'm like, wait,
like she's never been there.
Mentor? Like what? Maybe that's why she was pissed. You took Teresia here first?
Yeah, I think Go's whole thing is like she doesn't really friendship me enough.
Wow.
Is that the euphemism we're using now?
Deep.
They have an argument about the kidnapping. So I skipped over the flashback, which was, them being kids, doesn't matter. They argue about the kidnapping, and Teresa kind of reveals like, you abandoned me, you got saved, and then didn't care what happened to me, so why should I care about you anymore? Mm-hmm. Momo licks her and is like, no, you totally want to be friends, I can tell.
I love that that's the solution to just so many problems. This Momo just licks somebody.
I love that Teresa was like physically repulsed by it too. Like, why are you licking me right now?
Yep. And yet the scenes are drawn in fan servicey ways every time. Like the camera slows, zooms in, and like gives you this angle just like it would in any fan service moment. Yeah.
Teresia leaves and goes and makes contact with Morio again. So she's like, she never turns good. And multiple times you're like, oh, maybe she's going to turn good. And she goes right back to the bad guys like, okay, what do I do next?
I love how Jeremy said that. Troy's like, okay, moving on. We're just going to
here. Teresia asks Hatsume to hang out again. So they go out to eat. Meanwhile, the apprentice girls are all trying on swimsuits, like you do, but they're for missions and stuff. But at the same time, the character who's Tendo, who we'll talk about later, but is the leader of Morio, shows up as herself and then puts on a disguise while she's there to set off a bomb, which is a poison gas that makes people go insane. Kind of
not a bomb, it's a drone.
Yeah, a drone gas, but it's the same effect, right? Poison in the air. People go crazy. Because she left from swimsuit shopping early, Go is affected, and she goes straight to a Yakuza hideout and just starts wiping out everyone.
Yep.
Which was a really cool scene. Like, this was one of the best action scenes of the whole anime.
There was one thing that bugged me about it. It was really cool, like the way it was choreographed. Is that, this entire anime, they've made very specific points to go, like, these girls do not permanently hurt people or kill people. Like, that's just, like, one thing they don't do. like robots, no problem.
Right.
And Go does that here. Like she's going for knockouts. She's going for incapacitations. Like if she's being affected by this drug and she's got all this power, why isn't she just flat out murdering people? Like that would have made this scene much better.
She's so pure.
Because
she's so good.
This anime will not pull the trigger.
Oh, that's fair.
You're absolutely right. She should have.
You know how much more interesting the scene would have been?
I would have loved it.
I think that's all our biggest complaint is that this anime either needed to go light and silly or dark and dramatic, and it refuses to go either way.
It's like a bland dish with no seasonings.
Yeah. So, but Hatsume catches wind that
was so on point. I have to stop you. We had to give Jeremy applause. That was so good. I couldn't have ripped that out better myself. All right, go ahead, Jason.
So Hatsume gets wind that Go is like losing her mind, right?
Right, and this is where she tells she goes to the bathroom, finds out, goes back to Teresa, and is like, "Hey, by the way, yeah, I'm in the good gang. I know you're in the evil gang. What do you want to do about it?"
Oh, by the way, I just stabbed you with poison.
Yeah, I just because Teresa at first was like, "Well, that's not going to work for me. We need to, figure this out." And she's like, "Okay, I just poisoned you." And
I also love the way she says it too, because she's like, "I just poisoned you, and you have 10 minutes before you're paralyzed, and then I'll take care of you forever and ever and ever." Teresa's like, "You psycho!" and then runs out.
Right, which we then find out that all she did was just poke her with a needle. There's no poison at all.
Right.
Again, I actually like this scene because Hatsume was pushed up against the wall. She because there's a trap for Hatsume that if she reacts to the news of the bombing or the gas, she's clearly in the thing. She's caught in a trap, and she's just like, screw it, I'm ripping off the band-aid and I'm taking control of the situation, so I'm in control. And I appreciated the way she did that. I just poisoned you.
No, I love that she's like, "Yep. Not only am I in it, I'm the gadget person, and these are my gadgets that I made."
Distraction. No, that was actually really well written. I like that.
So then the rest of the episode is them trying to get Go to tackle. We find out she's the best fighter in the entire gang.
Did not expect that. I did not see that coming. I thought that was the poison that was enhancing her. Really caught me off guard.
Right, and I guess the reason they had her on the sniper is because she's the ace in the hole, right? When things get bad, we let her fight.
Yeah, don't put your best fighter on the front lines. Put her in the back with a sniper.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly was my thought. But that is the explanation we're giving. Like, you know how we had her have a sniper rifle? Fooled you. She's the best fighter.
There she goes.
They aren't able to do anything against her, but Hatsume does eventually show up and almost gets punched, but Go breaks the mind control, and
she has the friend maker skill.
She has the friendness, and she can't punch her love friend mentor.
That's right.
She's like, "Goten, you must come down from Super Saiyan."
Goten would have been so happy.
And then Go and Hatsume make up in the hospital.
With a lot of hand holding.
There's hugging and crying.
Yeah.
In the next episode, Teresa and Hatsume are fighting, and she loses.
I love how Teresa loses so fast in every fight. Like, she does not measure up at all.
I also appreciate the episode opening this way. Like, hey, I didn't let go of this problem. I'm still here. Bam. Okay, I put you down again. How many times was me teach you this lesson, old man? But she wakes up on an operating table, and Hatsume's like, you must have drank one of the bad guys' gels because it was a bomb inside you. I've neutralized it. You're fine now. You're welcome.
It seems so sinister. Like, you're captured and you wake up in your surgical garb. Like,
And where was this if she's part of the surgical team? And she can escape if it's not in the underground base.
Yeah. How did she escape and yet not know where their underground base was?
No, because she had daylight coming through. They were above ground. Mm-hmm. Where is she practicing medicine as a high school girl?
Yep.
The only explanation is that it was taught to her by her mentor.
Oh, okay. Because she carries the dreams and thoughts and personality and passions of her mentor, and also everything she ever learned.
But Katrina is her mentor, and we never see any medical or skill. She's a cook, and she's a good fighter, and she's American.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is obviously easy to tell from the facial features of the non-Americans.
Yep.
She's blonde. I think if you're blonde, you're not from Japan in anime.
Hatsume is not from Japan.
I'm just calling it like I see it. The next episode, there's not a ton of important stuff in the next episode. This is they go to the beach. They go to Okinawa, hang out at the beach for a secret mission. They get a selfie stick as a weapon. There's a Viking girl. They go to another good guy organization, and they're like, oh, we all got wiped out by this evil organization that's making the drug for the other bad guys. So, of course, the Spice Girls have to go in. Momo fights a man with snakes.
Yeah.
You skipped over the Viking.
Yeah, well, I was going to come back to it. So, a complaint that we had earlier with Go was that that whole being brainwashed thing affected her. So, there's that Viking girl, and she's working for the bad guys because they captured her grandfather. Go goes to fight her on her Viking ship. Yes, I said that. And when she goes to fight her, she goes to eat the spice, remembers being mind controlled, and then doesn't. Okay. Oh, that's affecting her. That's interesting. 10 seconds later, I'm eating the spice. Screw it.
Yeah.
And it never comes up again.
Nope.
And it's almost like there are these token hurdles that characters have to, like token opposition to character development. Like, hey, we really need this character to experience something from what they just went through. So here you go. But we really also need them to move past it immediately. So let's just keep going.
Yeah.
And it actually works against character development because it just points out that you didn't have any character development.
Yeah, I was really disappointed that like there was no repercussion for her not eating the spice, and she immediately goes back to the spice when she wants it and is not stressed out about it when she does, and it's just okay.
I also didn't like how the Viking ended up being Teresa Light.
Yeah, kind of. Just in the sense that, oh, she's a villain that doesn't really want to be on the bad guy's side, and you can really quickly and easily.
It was a cut and paste storyline, nearly, but she wasn't going to be around for more than an episode. So
do we appreciate the world building that there's stuff going on like with the Spice Girls in like all over Japan? Like there's other cities that have their own good guys and evil organization.
Well, it made me wonder, like, what was so special about this organization? Because it couldn't have been eating spice because they had a dude in it.
Yeah, an old dude.
And so spice probably didn't work on him.
And they were an intelligence group, they said.
But yet he was a good fighter, too.
And she had Viking axe number 1 and number 2.
And number 2. Looked right out of Skyrim.
That didn't answer the question. Like,
I didn't care.
Okay, fair enough. I didn't really either.
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, they're there to investigate the drug. They rescue the grandpa. The Viking girl becomes a good guy, and all the drugs get burned. What does happen that's important, Yuki notices the effect of the spice is wearing off faster than normal. And Momo, even though she wins her fight, Yuki slaps her for being willing to fight. And is like, how dare you put yourself in danger?
Well, I think it's because she gave her explicit orders not to.
Her orders are prioritize your safety to a secret agent spy woman in a building full of guns, and like if I was prioritizing my safety, I wouldn't have shown up here.
The other thing that she said to her was, if you encounter enemies, do not fight them, flee. And again, I totally agree with you. Like, what else is she supposed to do there? The base is full of enemies. If you flee them, you encounter them, you're never going to complete your mission. But that was the only justification I had for why she possibly could be angry at her, was you're not following the orders I gave you. Just like positioned at the back gate and you left and somebody nearly got away and I had to clean up your mess.
Right.
And Yuki does end up apologizing for this as well.
Right. Yeah. She does, and gives her explanation of why she acted this way, which we'll get into now, which is in the next episode, Yuki basically takes Momo on a play date.
Yes.
I don't know what you would call. I mean, it's either a date or it's a best friend day, but either way, they go hang out all day, and then she shows her the ruins of the old evil base. And she tells her the story about her own mentor. The old mentor was named Nagaho, which we find out was very different from Yuki. Any quick thoughts on this character who I totally thought was going to turn out to be the main villain?
I was hoping.
I did.
So hoping.
Yeah.
Because they had the same color eyes.
They did. I went back and looked at the eyes and was like, purple. Oh my God. I figured this out.
I was hoping.
Yeah, I was hoping too. But she was like a May, but older and more experienced.
Mm-hmm.
I liked her death scene. No, it felt. It was like the one time this anime was like, okay, we're going to commit to someone dying in a really dramatic way. Like, hey, let me come help you mentor. And she's like, nope, bomb, boom.
It's almost like Outlaw Stars moment, right?
I was totally expecting at the very end of the last like 10 minutes of the episode 12 for Nagaho to just show up.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't die either.
Right?
100%. Again, I thought she was going to turn out to be the villain because I'm like, oh, that would make a lot of sense because then the apprentice has to beat the mentor's mentor. Oh, that would actually have been interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Was it odd to? I don't know if this is nitpicky. Probably is. When they were like, hey, your mentor's in your heart. She didn't place her hand where her heart is.
I mean, that date ended well for her, I guess.
just a lot of semi-inappropriate touching for 16 to 17-year-olds, but
it's mentors, so it's fine.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She's shot.
But like basically, the whole story is I had a mentor. She died on this mission. I lost my eye. I didn't. I got scratched across my eyelid, so I keep it closed forever now.
Well, she mentioned pain. She mentions her eye hurts when she has it open.
Did she? I didn't even notice that.
Well, okay, she didn't say when it's open, but she says that she has residual pain from.
Okay.
Anyway, and then the mentor died fighting Tendo, who is our villain is Tendo. What did you guys think of our main villain, Tendo?
I actually liked her because she was the only one willing to actually do anything worthwhile.
She's the only one that committed,
right?
Yeah.
You're 100% right. She is the darkness this anime needs, and the anime is like, nope, we're undoing what you did. No. That was really dramatic.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's funny the way you just did that, Troy. It's like she would do something. The anime is like, no, let me fix that. And then she would do something else, and the anime is like, no, let me fix that.
It's like she was a living entity in opposition to the writers.
Right. Unfortunately, her motivations were 100% unclear. But I did like her as a villain. I thought she was a pretty decent villain for this kind of bubblegum anime.
Okay. Yeah, there was a couple of moments where I was just really expecting the story to take a different turn than it did, and I was
Troy. I'm sorry, Jeremy. I don't mean to interrupt you, but like, she is. I mentioned earlier that it was like, oh, she reminds me of Palpatine just because of like the way she acts and like. She even gets thrown down a shaft, but like
you're right.
No, she's Shredder. She's 100% Shredder.
Yeah,
no real motivation, but like really strong bad guy that can go toe to toe with the protagonists.
with Leonardo. Yeah. One of the moments was there's a scene where all of the big heads of Morio are gathered together in place, and I thought she was orchestrating this so that she could take them all out. Yeah, and I was like, that's why she gives the traitor this gelatin, because now the traitor's explosive and the traitor's up there, and she's like, yeah, go read them this note. I'm like, is that a trigger phrase? Like, what's going on here? You're planning to take over Morio, right? That's the end game here.
Really, really hoping.
Yeah, and that didn't happen. And so, like, yes, a lot of the things she did I really liked because it lent a little bit of gravity to the anime, but there were a couple of times when there were some really dropped opportunities where I think it could have been very interesting. But
zero motivation. She's just like, I'm bad because I'm bad.
And see, if she had been trying to take over Morio, there would have been your motivation. She's like, I'm going to take over the world, and I'm going to be the head of the organization that rules.
Because she's in that room, and then she's like, okay, I'm going to go leave to do the thing.
Yeah.
When she left, I was like, oh, now she's going to gas that whole room and take control.
Yep.
And no.
Anything. But yeah, you're right. No motivation.
By then, I'd already figured out the other twist, and so I was like, no, this is just going very, very plainly by the book.
You figured out the last twist?
Yeah. I'll tell you when we get to it.
Okay.
So weak.
After their boob touching powwow, they go and they do more investigating, and Momo finds basically footage of Tendo, and they're able to identify who Tendo is through both the data they had from the pharmaceutical company and then footage from their original mission where the mentor died.
So I love that that's all it takes for Momo to be inaugurated into the you can handle it now group.
I also loved that it was like very TV CSI moment of extrapolate facial data from multiple different backwards angles.
Make sure you have two people on the same keyboard so that they can get to zoom in right.
So our next episode is getting ready for the big mission. Basically, they're like, Tendo just left for 10 days, and when she gets back, we're totally going to kidnap her. Even though while she's away, it would be the perfect opportunity. But no, let's just wait till she gets back. No hurry.
Yeah, they don't want to interrupt her vacation.
Yeah, that they can leave this place and still operate. So why not kidnap her when she's gone? That was pointless.
I thought when they said she's gone, I'm like, oh, perfect window to capture. And they're like, we'll just wait till she gets back. But the reason they do that is so these girls can have their calm before the storm moment because everything's about to go crazy. Basically, all the the mentors and the apprentices all have scenes together. One of the bigger ones is Momo asking Yuki about graduation because from the Spice Girls, and we mentioned when you get done with the Spice Girls, you either stay on as a non-powered helper, like Katrina did, or you have all your memories of just being a Spice Girl removed.
How?
I know,
How?
Jeremy, we don't have time. Jeremy, look at the clock. We got to keep going. Jeremy.
Even if you did that, you have gaping wounds in your memories.
Jeremy,
all over the place.
Jeremy, come back. Come back.
Okay.
I hated this. Oh.
Maybe it doesn't work, though. I could see it actually not working.
Smiles, and so it's like, why are you smiling? You shouldn't remember anything.
You should not know what's going on. So after everyone has their moment, the day of the mission arrives. Tendo goes shopping. She's abducted by the girls. She's all like, oh my God, I don't know what's happening. Momo licks her. It's like she's totally lying. She's like, yeah, I am totally lying. You can tell stuff by licking me. That's interesting. And then she starts calling them by their specific names. She's like, I know everything. And then they get up to the restaurant, and Katrina and Baka are inside, who has decided to help them. She's like, I'm on your guys' team because why not? You know, I've cleaned your toilets. I might as well fight.
You joined the colony.
Yep. The restaurant explodes with them inside it, and they end up getting chased into a trap by Teresia and a bunch of trucks.
And apparently, trucks are hellfire missile resistant. Which is okay.
Okay, if you have mechs and you know they have a car with missiles, I could see you getting trucks and specifically bracing them for missile impact.
Okay. I can buy it didn't take a lot of damage, but to at least not be knocked over by explosions.
Yeah.
They're just little missiles. Anyway, everyone
six of them, but it's fine.
everyone jumps out, getting ready to start fighting, and suddenly the traitor is revealed to be Mai, and she's like, "Hey, didn't I tell you I'm a free spirit? I'm so free, I'm evil, baby."
Yeah. I did.
So shallow.
I picked this one based on two things. The first was when Hanzo was looking at information about where to go next. Mei gave her a different direction to go, and nobody else did. And then the second time was when it was the night before the mission, and Fu comes back, and Mei they give her extra screen time, and she's got this sort of
That's true.
contemplative, I'm going to look over there because tomorrow's going to be, I'm going to have to betray you all. And I'm like, oh, she's it. That's the one.
So back on episode 6, I wrote down Katrina. Again, I got the reason wrong. I thought it was because she would want to be powerful. But the reason I wrote Katrina is they put a lot of hints into Katrina being the traitor, which is half right.
Yeah.
Not really. She's not the traitor, but there's a reason all the hints point at her.
Yeah,
which we'll come to in the second.
And all the hints are wrong.
Right. Well, no, they're not. The hints are right.
No, they're right, but for the wrong reason.
Right. Yeah. That's absolutely. Anyway, Mei basically just decimates her own team. She knocking out Fu, Go. She helps Teresa fight Hatsume and knocks her into the water and explodes her, I was like, okay, that's weird. We have an off-screen death, so she's not dead. You're not going to kill a main character off-screen. Momo and Yuki are fighting Tendo. Momo gets knocked down and taken hostage, so Yuki allows a robot to cut her and leave her for dead.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, she's not dead.
No.
She not only did she double up on Spyce in this scene, so she's like double powerful, which there's no metrics to even consider that. But she let one of the robots hit her.
Yeah, and I thought their suits were blade proof. They specifically call that out. They say bullet and blue.
Well, they are, and twist. That's how she survived, by angling it so it would hit her in the suit, and then using a
blood packet,
fancy ketchup packet, to make the blood go everywhere.
But
yes, she is blade proof, and that's how she survives.
Then why is she wearing a crutch, or why does she have a crutch?
Because she wasn't healing. It looked like it hit her.
Maybe that was the double spice. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Anyway, the apprentice girls are captured. Mai's like, Fu is specifically mine, but let's get every one of these ones back to your base. I'm totally happy to be part of this evil plan. And they drive off. Oh, she has to drink the explosive gelatin as a sign that she's part of the team. And then they leave Yuki laying in her blood.
Walks over and she's like, I will totally drink this gelatin that you just offered me. Who says that?
So they're taken to the bad guy's base, where they bring in first Mai explains, here's how I betrayed you every single time. Here's how I did it and why I did it. Gives that whole thing.
Was so stupid.
Yeah, it was.
Then so unbelievable.
Then an evil scientist comes in and prepares to torture them. Bad guys do the classic move of, we're just going to leave you in here to be tortured and die. and not watch it. We'll be off screen. Go gets free with Momo's help, and they get the scientist to tell them what's going on. And then the scientist accidentally gets herself tortured. So by her own torture bot.
So you can't miss this very, very important moment of Momo's character development too, because Momo remembered that if you can say the word mentor, you can think about your situation. And so she thought about her situation and happened to notice that a screw was missing from Go's strap. That was her character development. She noticed. And
also then distracted the torturer so that Go could get free.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not saying that makes it better. I'm just saying I'm going to give the full explanation.
Yeah.
So there's not a YouTube comment that's like, you missed
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Okay. The apprentice Spice Girls go back to the restaurant, which is now surrounded by police, and they have to go in through a secret entrance, but they do decide they're going to fight. they get inside their base. The animals are still alive, but no one's seen the other people. They go and get their families, abduct them basically to protect them because the bad guys were going after the families. I did like that they thought of that.
Interesting touch. Yeah.
That was I was just about to comment that like most like that's the leverage that the bad guys always use in these kind of spy type movies or shows. So yeah, that was funny though. It's like, oh, mom, you're safe.
Yeah, exactly.
They gear up, and when they go out to leave, Yuki drives up in the car and is like, "Hey, I'm also still alive, and you guys have done well, and I'm hurt, so I'm just gonna help in the background, but you guys are doing awesome. I'm still alive." I had mentioned the second twist. I've already guessed the second twist by this point, and then this point actually made me doubt it again because. Why is Yuki alive and not telling anybody anything? But that's fine. We find out later, but whatever.
Yeah, I mentioned this in the chat too. I know what the twist is you're talking about.
Yeah. It's stupid that Yuki doesn't know the twist.
Yeah.
And their explanation was she's so busy.
I don't want to bother her.
Anyway. They have to stop Project Gekako, which is the evil organization's basically a wide-scale, citywide version of what they'd already done. It's the mind-controlling drug. And if it gets in your system for over a half an hour, it's permanent. And you will basically be a mindless zombie that they can tell what to do. And then they're going to go worldwide because the world wouldn't notice this one city and be like, okay, we're not going to let that happen.
Yeah. Yep.
No, but it's fine. It's fine. This is such a Shredder Foot Clan play. They break into the building. Go has to fight Teresia, and Fu has to fight Mai. Go wins. And what's really cool, after Teresia loses and goes like, my mentor wanted to be your friend, I'm going to be your friend. I'm going to lay you out, and we'll be friends later. But then Tendo comes up and just like slices her wrist open, like, you failed, and you know what we do to failures. See ya.
Yeah, and she bleeds out right there, and I was like, okay, you did it. I'm fine. Even if you screw up other things, if you let her die, because she dies thinking, I could have changed, right? I could have changed. She said,
I chose bad.
Wrist cut, and it's like, oh, this is good. You gave me something.
I did have a little trouble with Tendo being able to like go top and bottom of the building instantly while they're trying to climb it. But
she's Shredder. Give me a break.
Okay.
Yeah. Ninja. She like scales the side of the building, just runs up in between scenes.
Like Naruto style.
Yes, exactly. And then she gets all composed, gets her breath back.
Fu doesn't manage to beat her mentor because she uses bombs to escape. And then she meets back up with Tendo, and they're like, okay, we're going to do the secret plan. They start the secret plan, which is, hey, that building over there is actually the secret plan. We're just watching from here. And so Yuki's like, everyone, we gotta go to the other building. We're in the wrong building. If we're going to stop the plan, we have to go to the other building, which turns into a giant flower.
Yeah. So the episode starts with Mai in a bunny suit, like,
she changes into her battle outfit and then goes back to the bunny suit.
Back to the bunny suit.
I have no problem with that.
She did look good in the bunny suit.
I'm not ever complaining about bunny suits.
Troy's changed his mind from the beginning of the episode.
It's more of like a nostalgia thing for Bulma, but
oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay. So the gas starts to leak out to the city. People are starting to react to it. The Spice Girls attack the flower, and Katrina and Byakugo show up to help fight all the giant robots that are there. And Tendo is also there, just hanging out.
Yeah, she's standing at the top of the flower, which apparently, the flower's designed to make sure the area around it is pure. Again,
she teleports because she was in that building. Now she's like, okay, fine. Mai calls her up, and you gotta understand that they got all the members of this evil organization together to watch this in this safe building. And Mai calls them, everyone's asleep. And she's like, I poisoned everybody. Guess what? I was never a bad guy the whole time. That's the other twist. I knew it from the torture scene when she's like, oh, let's go to the pharmaceutical company. This is the building we're going to. And I was like, oh, you just told them. Oh, okay.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't knowing that May would be that way. It was just a prediction that there would be whoever it is that's the traitor. They already knew. I didn't know.
You did say that in the beginning. Like you wondered if the traitor was doing it for
plan
good reasons. Yeah.
Her explanation to Fu of why she turned was so
shallow.
No, it was so contrived. Like most of the stuff in this anime is contrived.
Yeah, I was saying that kind of fit.
But like it was like if you put contrived as the new standard, this was then contrived of that new standard. So I was just like, oh, she's not really a traitor.
I just want to be free, and what's more free than evil?
I do want to point out
I love the city in chaos.
Yeah, that's her line. I love that.
I have to point out, though, the double agent plan was Katrina's, which is why she's showing off all the clues of being a traitor, because it's actually her idea.
Yep.
So I was so close, and I missed. All right, that's fine. I absolutely love what happens though. So Maya does this full explanation of like, here's how I tricked you. Here's how this is all part of the plan. Here's Katrina's plan. This is why it was me.
They have dummy body doubles.
Champion. I hated that so much.
How is that the thing?
It's just one of the things, man. There's so many.
But what's great about this is after telling him, the evil machine starts going off again and was like, what? And Nintendo's like, yeah, while you were monologuing, I just turned the machine back on.
Actually, I did like that a lot.
Yeah.
And from in stories like this, it's always the villain who monologues, right? So the heroes can get the upper hand. And so I absolutely love that they flipped it.
Oh, yeah, I just rebooted it. It's fine.
Thank you for telling me all that. I don't care.
Yep.
So no one is able to go and help with the fight Tendo. So Momo goes, and Yuki's like, "You are not good enough for this." And Momo's like, "I got this." And again, I was like, because Momo knew she would fight Tendo, so she prepped for this. But that is not what happened. The closest thing we get to there was prep for my fight is that she uses an old wound Yuki gave Tendo to knock her off guard, and then kills her by boob slash.
Yes.
Yeah, I figured Jeremy would love that.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, this anime is so weird. I don't know what to think of it. Like, sometimes people are being murdered in bloody gore, and like, I mean, you don't actually see the bloody gore, but there's like blood everywhere, and people are getting murdered. And other times, everything's cutesy and everyone's protected. And then sometimes the main bad lady just gets cut down the side of her boob, and it's just
and it's fatal.
And it's a fatal cut.
She comes down in anime classic form. I was fully expecting Tendo to just split in two, like the way she came down. And no, her like only the top little piece of her dress goes freak a little bit.
Yeah.
And
then
like,
a line of blood.
Yeah, then a line of blood.
Yep.
It's like, you got me. And then
that's it. I'm dead.
She falls off the building.
Yeah, she Momo bombs the building, and then Tendo falls down into the pit, and that's the end. The
Shredder.
The story wraps up
with
everyone's alive. All the bad guys who weren't super bad. Teresia is now a Spice Girl. Monster Lady's doing dishes. Apparently, I even missed that.
Yep.
And Yuki takes Momo onto the beach and is like, "Hey, I want to graduate, and I don't want to remember. So shoot me with the memory thing." And then they cry on the beach for like all night. But
this is really contrived because of all of the people there. I would think that Yuki would be the one that would be most inclined to stick around and help. Like, her personality seems like she would.
What you had kind of pointed out in the beginning, she's also not the oldest. Like, a lot of these girls were already in this club,
Yeah, it's true.
before her, and then she's now ready to graduate, but they're going to stick around. It also, and
Weird.
they do this thing, and I hate it when people do this. Star Wars did it. When the young rookie noob does something great, and suddenly they're the leader of the group.
Yeah.
Because the scene that it ends with Momo like leading a mission. I'm like, you're the second newest member. You go sit down.
Yeah, exactly.
You listen to what Mai has to say. You listen to Hatsume. You do not give orders.
Yep.
Just okay. Momo does shoot Yuki, erases her memories, and then Momo, we see a kind of a redo of the opening episode of her picking out her apprentice and telling her to have confidence.
I did like that touch. That was interesting.
Well, we needed a new girl because the Spice only works on high school girls.
That's right.
I know.
Which is why, like, my first question at the beginning of like two years, is that what they have? They have 2 years. So if you have no previous training, your training starts, you get trained for like 6 months, and then, or maybe it's only 2 months, and then you work for like a year and a half, and then you're out. So that means that like you get trained, you have 2 months with your mentor, then you're on the job with your mentor for like a year, and then your mentor's gone.
Hey,
and you need to pick a new student.
All right, let's go to final reviews.
And then train your new mentee. They have like 1 year to develop these feelings.
Jeremy, I'm gonna infuriate you more.
Okay.
Momo is 16. Hatsume, which I believe is the oldest of the group, is 17.
Oh my god, the time span is ridiculous
All right, final
here.
reviews.
She has, oh my god, she's only got 2 years.
Hey, people go through puberty at different ages, man. That's just life.
And at different speeds.
But like they said, it's graduation, right? And we have more than one girl who's showing effects of it wearing off on her system. So presumably it's consistent at about 18 years old. So,
all right, let's go to final reviews. Jeremy, you picked it. Why don't you go first?
If the show had committed and let the traitor have a real reason to betray them, and let the deaths be permanent, let Teresa die, let at least one, if not both, of those two leaders die. So like the entire team got wiped out, and it was just the apprentices for the last 2 episodes surviving and just getting by the skin of their teeth, right? I would have really enjoyed that. It would have, I think, redeemed a lot of this anime. But as it stands, yeah, it's very bland. It has no spice. It's very, very boring, and nothing ever really has consequence. And so I'm very bored with it. It's probably, 2 Bakas.
Okay, Jason, how about you?
This was very much a palate cleanser. It was a fun ride, but it was no substance whatsoever. I actually had fun watching it, so I'm going to give it a 3.
There's moments that I enjoyed. I enjoyed the guessing the traitor. That was fun, and the moment the traitor came out was actually pretty interesting. It has a few interesting characters, but for the most part, I 100% agree with Jeremy. It was so bland. I don't really care about the technical details matching up. Again, I watched this like a 90s cartoon because that's what I saw, but I'm only giving it a 2. A high 2, but just a 2. If I hadn't seen Princess Principal, this would probably be a 3. But
I can agree with that.
Having seen something so similar, do it better, it definitely puts this lower for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is our discussion of Release the Spyce, and never shall it be mentioned again. But our next anime is SSSS.Gridman. That's 4 S's, S period, and then the word Gridman. This is an anime. It is based off an old, I forget what they're actually called, but they're like the old kaiju giant robot Japanese live action TV shows with guys in rubber suits. And in fact, one thing I know about this anime, the monsters in it are designed so a guy in a rubber suit could be inside them, even though it's animated. They all have, the way the body works, it could all be done with the old rubber suit special effects. But it's about, a boy, a giant robot fighting giant monsters. And I've heard good things, so we're going to give it a check out. But there's a lot of stuff in the current season I want to watch that I'm having to wait for. So that is our next anime. If you would like to comment on Release the Spyce or RimWorld, for our
Yeah.
upcoming anime, please leave a comment on our Twitter at Baka Podcast, our email, theanimebakaclub@gmail.com, or wherever you found this podcast. Leave a comment and it will get to us, and we would love to hear from you. With that, I think it's time for us to go, and be careful with your boobs, ladies. 1 slash, you're done.
Well, thanks for listening.
Subscribe to PewDiePie.